Hi, I'm Pete, and this is a Puzzle Master unboxing. That's right, Puzzle Master. It's been a hot minute since I got something from Puzzle Master, but here we go. So this really got here quickly. Really happy with it. Don't worry, that's not personal details. That's from a recycled box. So yeah, I think this got to me. I ordered on a Sunday and I got it. Picked it up at the post office on Friday, so that's actually pretty good. Okay, here we go. So I've been eyeing this puzzle for a while, and I just decided, you know what, now is the time, right? So this is the last member of a series that I have. It's paperwork. There we go. Okay, and so empty box. That's about it. So nicely packed. Whoa. There we go. So this is a member of a puzzle family. This is the last member. And it's one of those underappreciated gems, I think, anyway, from MF8. Partially MF8's fault here. I don't think they really did the puzzle justice. Anyway, let's see if our target puzzle is on the box here. It says Elite Killer Minx, so it's not that. It's not a Star Minx. Definitely not a Terra Minx. Is it a Sunminx? Well, no, it can't be a Sunminx because I already have a Sunminx. That's my Sunminx. All right, so let's see what we got in the box. So we definitely not the Sunminx. And well, okay, it already said what it was. So this, okay, box is empty. Look at that. So this is definitely a member of the same family. This is the Big Dipper. So I've really been enjoying this series of puzzles over the last little while. And of course I had the Sunminx. I also got the Heaven's Eyes, which is, I call it the Heaven's Eyes family. Those are third-party stickers, which we'll talk about a little later. And I also have, most recently, the Cullinan Cube, though I have had that for over a year, probably even a little more than a year. Again, the third-party stickers, really, really cool. And then finally, we have the Big Dipper. This is great. This is really, really great to have this puzzle finally. So this is the fourth and final member of this puzzle series. So, you know, it's obviously had a long trip here, but I'm just being very careful about turning the faces on this. There we go. Okay, so this puzzle shapeshifts quite a bit. It's really quite insane the way it shapeshifts. I don't want to force anything because it is. There we go. Fairly. Okay, there we go. That's one. Obviously needs to be broken in a little bit and possibly have the tensions adjusted. Though I've said it before and I will say it again, these puzzles really need to be kept fairly tight. So if you do loosen them and lube it a little bit just to break it in, that's fine. But make sure you tighten it back up before you play too much. I learned a very harsh lesson about that on the Cullinan Cube. Okay, so this is the Big Dipper. So if you just go on the web and you try and find out what the difference between these puzzles, what the differences are, it's really, really hard to find any information on it. So these are all bandaged puzzles, and they have basically the highlight, and this is the simplest one of them. This is the Sunminx. They have these very elaborate edges, which are made up of 4 quadrilaterals and then a 2-color piece, and then these 2 small triangles. These quadrilaterals have a bandaging piece on them, and you can just barely see it here, kind of poking out beside this quadrilateral here. So what this bandaging piece does is, if it's on the side, of an edge, then you can turn the adjacent faces and there's no problem. But if this quadrilateral moves over here, then its bandaging piece is going to be going this way, and it's going to prevent you from making turns of adjacent faces, at least one adjacent face. And depending on what the other quadrilaterals are doing, you may be blocked in several places. So the purpose then of these bandaging pieces is to kind of add some challenge to the puzzle. The problem is you can't see them. So imagine this puzzle's all scrambled and jumbled, and some of the quadrilaterals have changed location. There's no way to tell from the outside which where the bandaging is. What you have to do is either physically try the puzzle or push in and sort of pull the pieces apart under a really strong light and try to see where that bandaging piece is. That is makes it, I think, a little harder than it needs to be, because it's already a pretty hard puzzle. That's where these third-party stickers come in, is that they show where the bandaging is. And that's basically it. Once you can see the bandaging, when you scramble it up, if the bandaging pieces they switch places, or if they're in an odd angle, then you'll immediately see it and you can fix it. You don't have to go peering inside. You don't have to press the piece in, squish it in to see how it where it is. So that's basically it. This is the simplest of them. It's just a regular dodecahedron, and the result is that when you scramble this, the bandaging doesn't get too extreme. I only remember encountering two different types or two different configurations of the bandaging, and neither of them was really hard to fix. So I found this one to be the easiest of them. But notice I haven't changed the stickers on this one, so maybe it's maybe this one could use its own sticker set, custom stickers. So this is just a dodecahedron. All the faces are pentagons. Relatively easy solve compared to the rest of these. The solve amps up considerably when we get to Heaven's Eyes. So Heaven's Eyes has a shape. If you kind of look at it, this is more like a crazy comet shape, and as a matter of fact, it can be reduced to a crazy comet once you fix all the bandaging and put all the pieces back in, and then your edges and your corners, you can basically treat it as if it's a crazy comet or a curvicopter if you prefer, these being the leaves of the curvicopter, and you can just do your 180-degree turns, and yeah, it's really kind of cool. Or you can just solve it somewhat like a Megaminx and use those kind of algorithms. The symmetry on this has some interesting effects. This is a pretty big challenge right here. Then we get the Cullinan Cube, and the Cullinan Cube is named after a diamond. The Cullinan diamond kind of has these truncated faces just around the equator. And the result of that, unlike the Heaven's Eyes cubes where all of the faces have this kind of peculiar shape, what we end up with is a pentagon face, and then these kind of asymmetrical faces. And all of them are asymmetrical. They're with this shape, and if you flip it over, they have the same shape over here. So this does produce it's a different solve than this. Not super different, but it is different. For one thing, you can't rely on the symmetries of this one, right? So when you're working on things, one of the things on here is you can maybe take a chunk here and then flip it around and do some swaps like that. But here you're not quite able to do that. So it's a different challenge in its own right. And then finally, we have the Big Dipper. And the whole reason I thought I might like the Big Dipper, because once I realized how it compares to the other ones, it is different. So this one has just pentagons. This one has just these they're kind of hex faces, but they're a weird shaped, crazy comet shaped faces. This one has these asymmetrical faces. And this one has a mix. So it has the asymmetrical faces of the Cullinan Cube, but it also has, because of the way the cuts are made, it also has some of these crazy comet faces. So it has this kind of this really, really neat mix of the asymmetrical faces and the crazy comet faces. So yeah, that's what attracted me to it. The whole thing was just that it's basically a little bit like that and a little bit like that, sort of a hybrid of these two. And it doesn't have any of the Megaminx faces. And I will say that the Megaminx faces on the Cullinan Cube make it easier than this, because this doesn't have the Megaminx face. All right, so this one also doesn't have the Megaminx face. So I do expect it to be a challenge, pretty much on at least as hard as the Cullinan Cube, but probably closer to the Heaven's Eyes, which is so far the hardest of the bunch. Right, wow, so that's it. So that's my Big Dipper. Yeah, the naming is whatever. So the mistakes I think that MFE made on this, of course, the internal bandaging, I don't know. It just makes it harder than it needs to be. So, but that's easily fixed with stickers. And then the other thing is, again, there's just not really much information. If you go onto their website, you really can't get to see anything about these puzzles, at least not that I found. There's no real good, exciting place where you can learn about the differences. And these are relatively expensive puzzles, so you would expect them to promote them a little better. But anyway, that's it. I'm glad I have this one. I'm pretty sure I am going to put the stickers on it. It is a very big task. There are a lot of stickers on here. The factory stickers leave a lot of residue, so there's quite a bit to it. I'll probably break it in a little bit, because the breaking in can damage the stickers a little bit. So I'll probably go with that. And I'm noticing now the change in the color scheme, because I kept the original color schemes. They're better colors, or more vibrant colors than the factory stickers, but they're exactly the same shade. So baby blue, this lime green, they're exactly the same as the factory shades. And this is factory, and this is factory. So you see that they have changed it. So these two seem to have a similar color scheme, and then these two have a similar color scheme. It's an interesting choice, and like things like having the white special corners here. It's just it's different. It's cool. These are really tough puzzles. I will forewarn you. Okay, so I don't know. Let's take a look at a pretty typical algorithm on this puzzle. So let's try it out. Okay, and the key is not getting lost in the middle of that, and it's pretty typical for the Heaven's Eyes family. We swapped 2 corners cleanly. We have 2 of these centers that have swapped and rotated, but that is actually, you see that on a Rubik's Cube when you do the same algorithm. So from here, you could turn this face and you could swap corners, but you can also swap centers. And that is the cool thing about this puzzle, that the corners and centers are all interchangeable. And then, of course, you can also do 60-degree turns, or however many degrees those are, and you get really strange and funky things like that. And then something like this can actually be, I could flip this around and then work on that corner. So yeah, it is a very cool series. I like it a lot. This is broken in just in a little bit of turning that I've done. It's already starting to smooth out and break in. I strongly recommend you break this in by doing algorithms like this and turning the faces before you try to scramble it, because you really want it broken in, because as you can see, a lot of the moves that you have to do take quite a few turns, and you want it to be moving smoothly. All right, let's put this back then. Okay, there you go. And it can look pretty intimidating as you're in the middle of all that, but once you get some experience of where it goes, how far up to turn it, it's actually not bad at all. All right, wow, awesome. So that is my Big Dipper, and I can now say that I have the entire Heaven's Eyes family, as they call it, the Sunminx, Heaven's Eyes, Cullinan Cube, and finally the Big Dipper. All right, well, that wraps up this unboxing of the Big Dipper. I will put a link down in the description for where you can buy these nice stickers. And as always, I appreciate your comments, your questions, your suggestions. Let me know what you think in the comments. I always welcome your feedback. All right, well, that's it. Until next time, thanks for watching.